today we're gonna check out some more Epoch news. Day 4 of their hype week. They're spoilering their new quality of life features for dungeons and other improvements. Hello travelers, welcome to the final pre-patch hype week blog post. Tomorrow we're gonna get the patch notes. This is our last hype week before the patch notes, and today we'll discuss some of the quality of life changes, as well as a few other game improvements.
Good, you're back.
Reclamarive.
Thanks for the resub, Mechanical Engineer. Thanks for 45 months. How you doing, man? We'd also expand some features you may have already seen through our announcement trailer, Twitch streams, Eterra's monthly newsletters, or the recent dev podcast, and cover some new exciting features yet to be mentioned. So let's dive right in. Alright. So, let's see. Mastery specialization, first of all. This is a feature I personally am not the biggest fan of, but lots of people have been asking for this, so you can now respec your mastery for a cost. Here you can see how it works. It's the same NPC as where you also like respec your skills, like your passive skills. And it looks like it costs like 1 million gold. So it is quite expensive. I don't know if it's gonna be like level dependent or what it's gonna like depend on, but you can now respec your mastery, like respecialize your mastery. So at least it is quite expensive. But yeah, I mean, this might scale with your level or like with the amount of points that you have invested into like the mastery and so on. So at least it's not like as free as like the skill points. So I mean, okay, I guess. I mean, this is kind of cool for people that like doing that. I'm personally not the biggest fan of that, but honestly, like for a seasonal game, which Last Epoch is now, it wasn't really in the past. I can see it making more sense than for a non-seasonal game. Eternity Cache changes. Crafting is something Last Epoch is known for doing well, and we continue to improve and offer new ways for players to get creative and maximizing their potential. With that, we took a look at the Eternity Cache crafting system. Taking that 2 or 3 LP unique and not getting the tier 7 exalted affix you're after can be frustrating. Especially if you already had a 1 legendary potential unique that successfully took the same tier 7 exalted affix. So we've introduced a quality of life change to ease that pain. However, for players wishing to truly leave their items in the hands of Eterra, that option will remain. Okay, so you can now select guaranteed affixes. If you already got that one before, I believe. So from tier 2 and above at the Temporal Sanctum, players will be able to choose one affix to guarantee crafting onto their unique when sealing, while the rest of the exalted affixes will be decided by the unique's LP level and fate. Wait, no, you can always just select one even if you didn't have it before. That's insane. That makes it so much easier. What? Hold on, does it not even matter on... Or is it only like for 2 LP and above? Hello, welcome guys. I wonder. Is it gonna be for 2 LP and above only, or also even like starting at 1 LP? Like some of the super rare items only have like 1 LP, you just get it guaranteed. I mean, I guess it like balances out, because like those items are like super rare and like hard to get with LP in the first place, so like if you do get it, at least you get also like 1 guaranteed affix. Speaking of fate, however, just like regular forge crafting, there is now also a chance for a critical success when crafting via Eternity Cache. This adds the potential to seal affixes past the legendary potential level of the unique. So an item with a 1 legendary potential that experiences a critical success will seal 2 affixes instead of 1. The chance for critical success depends on the amount of LP the item has and how powerful the unique item is, so it is very rare to see critical success when creating legendaries with Eternity Cache, and even more rare for powerful items. Okay, so like, interesting. I guess it like depends on like item level or like item rarity as well. And then, I wonder if you have like a higher success rate if the item has like say 3 LP compared to 1 LP, or if it's the other way around. I think it would make more sense to have a higher chance for crit success if it only has 1 LP than like 2 or 3, but who knows. Dungeon changes. Dungeon key inventory. You asked for a key ring to free up inventory space, but we saw just how many keys you've been saving and realized no one makes key rings that big. Instead, keys now have their own space in the inventory UI, freeing up valuable gear space in your stash tabs. This allows you to also more easily see how many keys you have gained and have available to exchange, though only with specific vendors, with a specific vendor whose services aren't quite officially sanctioned in Majorca. Black Market Key Trader. Exchange 3 key dungeons for a portal charm. So here you can see they're like stackable now, and you have like, they have like their own UI interface, so they will not hang around in your shared stash anymore, right? They will not clutter anything anymore. You just have your own like dedicated key inventory for this, which is really cool. I wonder what they're gonna do if they add more dungeons in the future. Maybe they're just gonna like not do that ever. Since like they have gotten like varying feedback, or like rather maybe overall like rather negative feedback towards the dungeons. So maybe they will just have this as a final art forever, who knows. We are introducing 2 types of dungeon key charms, portal charms and scale charms. You can only exchange your keys for portal charms at the Black Market Key Trader in Majorca's upper district, though for our loot lizard loving players, scale charms will instead only drops for mobs. I guess these are like the charms down here. I actually don't know, what is this? Oh, this is for Orbus, right? I mean for what's it called again? For the Uber boss maybe? Aberoth, right. When used at the entrance to a dungeon, a scale charm will greatly increase the amount of loot lizard that spawn during the dungeon run. Similarly, the portal charm will let the player travel directly to the dungeon boss with a random set of floor modifiers based on the tier of the dungeon selected. Ooh, the random modifiers can be rippy though. Like rippier than if you chose them yourself. The modifiers apply as if you had fought through each of those floors, but now you can jump straight to the boss and the rewards. Okay, so that is quite quite the feature. Like, they've gotten some negative feedback about like dungeon layouts and so on, and now they just give you the option to like entirely skip the dungeon, just go to the boss right away. I mean, okay. It's like one way to handle it, I guess. Though for players that wish to reach the boss the old-fashioned way, or have prophecies to complete, we have made improvements to dungeon zones based on your feedback. Oh, they have still done that on top. Okay, that's actually nice. Dungeons are now smaller with fewer blockers. I think this part wasn't even that big of a problem, but like the blockers were so annoying. With a lower chance for dead ends, that's also nice. Though if you do find yourself pinned in and falling to a horde of mobs, fret not, as there is now another reason to pick up all those keys you see. Dungeon respawn. I mean, this is obviously not hardcore viable, but you can now use a key instantly to revive yourself at the point where you died, I guess. Dungeon keys can now be spent to respawn in the same dungeon area where you died, or outside the boss area if you failed while trying to defeat the dungeon boss. Okay, so at least it does reset the boss, that's good. This should help make it easier to gain those boss drops, I mean hopefully, or access those unique dungeon mechanics repeatedly. Please be aware that for hardcore players, some specific terms and conditions will apply. Not available for you, you die, yeah, exactly. However, that's not all we've updated for our dungeons. For a while now, we've had a partial campaign skip for our dungeons, which had allowed players to speed up to customize their progression through the story at the cost of missing and having to backtrack to certain quests or passive points at idle slots. From Season 2 onwards, new short quests have been added that reward 2 passive points and unlock 1 idle slot for defeating each dungeon boss. These quests would also direct players to the alternative dungeon exits, bypassing parts of the campaign. Okay, so now you don't have, like, if you do the dungeon skips, you no longer have to backtrack and do the other side quests. That's cool. I hope you can't do this right away. I hope you still have to, like, actually drop the keys. Like, I think this should be still something you most of the time do, like, on second characters only. Apart from maybe the good old, like, skip where you just skip like the Act 8 completely. Like the temporal dungeon skip. Like, I think the way you leveled, if I remember correctly, like in Season 0, like release, as well as like Season 1, you always went all the way to Majorca pretty much, like to the Oracle. And then you would stop there and like go to Monos right away, and then come back to do Temporal Dungeon to skip to like Majorca Act 9, and then only do like the last act. And then you would skip like Act 7 and 8, I think, completely. Or was it even 6, 7, and 8 completely? Does this mean you don't have to fight the final snake boss? I think you still have to fight her, because she gives you like +1 to all attributes. And these quests don't do that, I believe. Yeah, they don't do that. Always needed keys for the final points. You always needed 1 temporal sanctum key. Now for the final, like, passive and idle slots, you didn't actually. Wait, hang on. I think you got like all except for like 1 or 2, which you then got like an Act 9 later. But you could do Monolith without all idle slots, because like on your first character you didn't necessarily have like enough idols anyway. Like, you couldn't really use that additional idol slot all that well anyway, so not having all slots wasn't that big of a deal. I wonder if you still do it like this though on first character, like still go to like Imperial Era, Majorca to the Oracle, and then you just do the Monos, and then after that you do Monos until you get like the Temporal Sanctum key. Then you do Temporal Sanctum, do Act 9 only, and that's it. Yo, first is a quick one. While GGG tries to force you to waste more time in the campaign, EHG forces you to skip it. I mean, they don't force you to skip it, and honestly, I wish all the skipping was not a thing on the first character. I think first character, in my opinion, should generally in an RPG have to play through the campaign. But like second plus characters should be able to skip it. Whereas GG is like every single character has to do the campaign every season. I think the ideal way would be like you have to do it once per character per season, and that's it. You skip bro, those dungeons skip passive points. You still need a key, right? You need a key. Without a key you can't do the dungeon. Unless those quests now give you a key for free. But they didn't in the past, so you need to still get the key. And from my experience, at least from the experience I had like in Season 1 and then release season, is that, like Season 0, you didn't get keys unless you were like really lucky. You did, as I said, like you got to Oracle, then you ran Monos, you did some Monos, and you got some like, eventually some keys in Monos, and then if you got the Temporal Sanctum key, you did Temporal Sanctum, and well, you still had to do the Snake Lady, right? Because the Snake Lady gave you +1 to all like attributes as well, which none of these quests do either. After the PV2, last Epoch will feel so easy to play. Probably. Okay, controller targeting has been significantly improved with our new targeting paradigm system. This means we can create custom behaviors for every skill based on the intended use of the skill while using a controller, such as cast on self, max cast range forward, cast on closest enemy in range, cast on enemy in forward facing cone, and so on. Yeah, I mean, so you can actually... This is like something you can choose yourself, right? Depending on skill. This also includes if a node or gear changes how a skill works, allowing us to create two-tiered behaviors, something far more specific than what was used before. Wait, is this something you can choose as a player, or is it like automatically like done? Maybe it's automatic, but like if they do it well, it's still a great system. A good example of this is Ballista. By the default, Ballista is a long-range, easily damaged minion that you summon and stick close to. However, with the right choices in its skill tree, you could turn it into an explosive you want to hurl at your enemies. Previously, the system only allowed for one action, stay or throw, to take place, and thus Ballista were always thrown regardless of how your skill tree was packed into. Now, the new two-tiered system lets summoned Ballista stay safely at your side, while explosive Ballistas are correctly thrown at the nervous enemy. Okay. It is also now much easier to kite enemies without being required to turn and aim directly at them with most skills. And each ability has been updated to feel more intuitive and satisfying. This includes Puncture and Bow Form, range projectiles that had a non-standard delay or targeting that didn't work well in the older system, and Meteor, though we're still making improvements on this one. Okay, cool. Auto-storing. Oh shit. Actually, they're removing the button. They're removing the feel-good button, as they called it in the past. Shards, runes, glyphs, keys, woven echo. It's a lot to track and loot to store, and something we have made some changes to with auto-storing. In Season 2, players will have more control over what stackable items move to their dedicated storage systems on looting and which move to the player's inventory, allowing the player to decide what happens to those items next. Oh, so you can like choose it in the options, I guess. This feature will let players individually choose if keys, woven echoes, common runes, shards and glyphs, and rare runes, shards and glyphs move to the inventory or not. This setting will be enabled for everybody at the start of Season 2 and can be adjusted in the settings menu at any time. Very cool. Inventory redesign. Inventory space is a premium resource, and with new uniques, gear and items being added, that space needs to be widely used. That's why on top of auto-storing crafting materials, you might have noticed that you can also choose to auto-store keys and woven echoes. That is because these items now have their own inventory tabs, along with an easier to access gifting tab. Really nice. You would always be able to see what items you have in these tabs, the amounts, and read the tooltips if you so wish. Death Vacuum. Fate is not always kind, but it is fair. Losing loot when you die is a staple of ARPGs. However, it can feel particularly painful when that loot includes a rare boss unique. This was highlighted even more with the introduction of Harbingers, where defeating a timeline boss would then spawn in a Harbinger, forcing players to choose between grabbing all the loot they could before they died, or fighting to survive if they could. Yeah, that did feel bad, especially for softcore, I guess. A change being introduced with Season 2 is the Death Vacuum. Upon death, inside the Monolith of Fate, it's not just the Trevor that is moved to the Monolith hub. The loot surrounding you gets caught in the pull of your fate and will move there too. Or you can just like go through the portal and then all the loot will go with you. That's nice. Comparing offhand feature. 2 rings, 2 weapons, 1 compare tooltip, no more. Now, when comparing items to your equipped gear, you will be able to press Ctrl to compare rings or weapons in your main hand as usual, and while holding Ctrl, then press and hold Alt as well to compare an item to the ring or weapon in the offhand slot. You can see this in action below. Wait, I thought this was already a thing. Apparently not. I mean, okay, that's nice, very nice, very nice. This can also be done by a controller, on a controller by pressing and holding L3 left stick, then pressing and holding R3 right stick. Very nice, very nice, very nice. It was pretty annoying in the past, it didn't work. Interesting. Yeah, this is, I mean, all the quality of life stuff is really cool. I mean, the dungeon stuff is like kind of a lazy fix in my opinion, because they could have made the dungeons easier. This one is, I think, really cool for people that don't play super crazy much, like myself. You actually don't have to rely all too much on RNG now for legendary crafting. This part, it's great, I guess, in a seasonal environment, or for people that are like more casual or like newer to the game. I personally don't like this feature that much, but I can see this being like very popular as well. So I think all of this is like big W overall. Okay, let's see what else we have. Other changes. Faction waypoints. After successfully joining an item faction on a character for the first time, players are able to then join an item faction from the Keeper's camp on alternative characters, as long as that character shares a stash with the first. That was already the thing, right? Like already, yeah. From Season 2 onwards, joining an item faction in the Keeper's camp will also unlock the waypoints for the Observatory and Bazaar. These will not act as campaign skips, however, as players will not be able to travel back to Majelka from those locations. Okay, but like you can like insert like prophecies and stuff like that already, and that's cool, yeah. Makes sense, makes sense. This is a good implementation. Also, like not being able to skip is good, I think, here in this case. Shared mono timeline unlocks. Another place we've heard a lot of feedback from our alcoholics is regarding repeatedly unlocking empowered monos. Even with the change introduced in the Harbinger update that required all characters to conquer just one level 90 normal timeline to unlock empowered monos, as long as another character had to conquer the 3 required before, okay. They still needed to complete all of the timelines leading up to those level 90 timelines. From Season 2 onwards, new characters will have access to all normal monos that have been unlocked by other characters who share that stash. They will still need to conquer a single level 90 mono to unlock empowered monos. This is great. This is how it should have been already. Like, this change was whatever, like, kinda... eh. This is an insane change. You can choose whenever you want to go to empowered, basically. Like, right away. Like, once your character is strong enough to, like, do one level 90 mono, this is insanely good. This won't retroactively apply to existing legacy characters, however, so players will need to unlock them at least once after Season 2 starts. Makes sense. This can be achieved by slaying a timeline boss with a character that has not yet defeated that boss. For example, if a legacy character slays the Emperor of Corpses in the Reign of Dragon Times for the first time, this will then unlock this progress for all other legacy characters that have reached the end of time and also share the same stash. Cool. Automatic potion drinking option. When your build relies on maintaining low health to maintain high ward or boost any other stat, running over a potion can be a big blow to your offense or defense. Well, going forwards, there will be an option in the settings menu to control this. Players will be able to toggle on or off automatically drink health potions when build is full. Very nice. This can also be used even if you're not playing a build that relies on low health. Automatically drinking potions when your health dips even a tiny bit could be wasting a valuable potion you need later on, so this option provides a more strategic use of potions, as it will require you to first pick up the potion by having space on your potion belt before drinking the potion manually. Yeah, I might enable this, honestly, like either way, like even if not playing some low life stuff. Like just having agency over like when exactly you want to heal is very nice. That wraps up the pre-patch Hypeweek blog posts. Thank you for joining us again. We look forward to sharing the patch notes with you tomorrow. Patch notes tomorrow, chat. Let's go. And then we have like an entire week to theorycraft. Very nice. And seeing you realize the full scope of what's coming to Season 2, the Tombs of the Based. Very nice. What do you think, guys? I think this is almost everything. It's like big W. I mean, I wish they would like just finish the campaign at some point and like, you know, but considering what they have right now and like the things that they're doing to what they have right now, this is pretty nice. Pretty nice.